Welcome to our Camp Lejeune Molly Pitcher event. Tonight we celebrate those who serve and support the field artillery community.
Why do we celebrate Molly Pitcher? Celebrating Molly Pitcher celebrates the lineage of artillery spouses. It pays homage to the characteristics that spouses today share with the characteristics that Molly Pitcher exhibited years ago. So Molly Pitcher is known for bringing water to the wounded on the battlefield and stepping up courageously to replace her husband at the cannon. Today, spouses show the same type of characteristics of courage, of commitment, of faithfulness, and of sacrifice as they go through their daily lives. We come together at socials, through activities, and volunteering in the name and on behalf of Molly Pitcher. And this brings us all together. It creates a tight-knit community.
Let's step back in time to a small town in New Jersey. There lived a woman named Mary Ludwig, known to most as Molly. Her story begins not on a battlefield, but in the quiet days of love and simplicity. Molly, a young woman of striking beauty and remarkable strength, fell in love with a brave young soldier named John Hayes. One day, when the drums of war called the men to arms, John left his home and joined the Continental Army. Molly, a heart full of love and pride, supported his decision. She knew the dangers that lay ahead, but was determined to stand by her husband's side. John Hayes, a gunner, marched off to battle. The year was 1778. It was the Battle of Monmouth. Knowing she had a duty, not to fight, but to serve, Molly followed John into battle, determined to do whatever she could for the cause of independence. The war was worse than she imagined. The conditions were brutal, hot, humid, and the battle was hard. When word reached Molly that the soldiers badly needed water, lots of water, Molly gathered pitchers and buckets, mustered up all her courage, and set off to the front lines to supply the soldiers with water. The soldiers would yell Molly Pitcher, thus earning her the nickname Molly Pitcher. The moment came when tragedy struck. John Hayes, her beloved husband, was struck by enemy fire during a fierce battle. Molly rushed to his side, tending to his wound with a steady hand, knowing she couldn't leave him. With her husband wounded and out of the fight, Molly knew what she had to do. She didn't hesitate. Grabbing a cannon rammer, she stepped forward into the battle, loading and firing the cannon. Molly's actions that day were more than mere duty. They were a testament to her fierce dedication to the cause of freedom, a beacon of hope and resilience. Her bravery inspired the troops, boosted morale, and solidified her place in Revolutionary War lore. She wasn't just a woman following behind the lines, watching her husband. She was a leader, a symbol of hope. With each cannon shot, her resolve grew stronger, and the hearts of those around her grew warmer, for they knew that they were not alone. Molly Pitcher, with her iron will and fierce love for her country and her husband, was right there with them, fighting for freedom. The spirit of Molly Pitcher lives on in the spouses who have stood by their Marines through every battle, every sacrifice. Their dedication and resilience continue to shape the legacy of military families today.
And we had an amazing opportunity to interview some Vietnam-era artillery spouses and learn about their story and the community that they had and kind of how they're part of our community now. And it was background on what they went through, how they navigated military life, post-military life, what kind of support systems they did or did not have, and how they found us Molly Pitchers.
My name is Mary Keaton. I'm married to Tom Keaton, and he was the gun chief at Quezon.
So I am Sherry Williams. My husband's Jerry Williams. He was over in Quezon, and I did not know him until after he got out of the service, and we worked at the same place and fell in love and all that good stuff. And then he passed away in 2016. But he got together with, like I said, they were separated for a long time. And then, of course, when the internet came, he's on there searching and all this stuff, and found the guys that he was on his gun with.
Lynn Schaus. I'm married to Ron Schaus. We've been married 55 years. I met him when he was in high school, and he automatically joined the Marine Corps in 1966. Did boot camp, and from there he went to Vietnam in 1967 and was there for his 13 months and was in Cantien. These are the dates that I mean the areas, Khe Sanh, and then he got out of Khe Sanh in March 30th of 1968, and then we were married in December of 1969. He got out of the Marine Corps in 1970 in February, and then we proceeded our lifetime of marriage and raising children. He loves the Marine Corps. In 2005, we went to a Khe Sanh reunion where a lot of the guys from the beginning of Khe Sanh and the ending when they closed it always got together every year, and they got back together. There was several other guys there that were all in their group together on the guns in Khe Sanh, and they just, you know, got their fellowship back up and remained friends from that point in 2005. We would be the support person for them. And they all had PTSD. They would have the nightmares and flashbacks and going through, you know, the mental states that they were in, trying to console them and make sure that, you know, they were calmed down. And if there was treatment, we'd try to get that, but they would refuse because they felt they were okay. And so just trying to support them and what they needed to be able to get through life. It was so separate because everybody went to their different states, homes, wherever. Back in the day, back in the 60s, 70s, I mean, it was never approached for Molly Pitcher.
I mean, we have done things that Molly Pitcher would do.
Right.
You know, but we didn't know about Molly Pitcher until later.
While interviewing them and talking to them to get their stories of their experience as military spouses, artillery spouses, we found that they didn't grow through this life with a community. They didn't have a lot of support. It was mostly on them to navigate the lifestyle with the tools there.
So part of the reason we learned that they didn't have a huge community was because for Vietnam, a lot of them were drafted, and so, you know, the Marines were coming from all these little small farm towns across America, and they were never like stationed together at a base, so spouses or girlfriends or families weren't able to meet other people going through those situations with them. And same thing when they came home to farmland communities and small towns where they just didn't have resources or the community to help them integrate back into their civilian lives. And so a lot of that fell on the spouses. And it was just interesting and actually really inspiring that they did all of that on their own, and they didn't find each other till 30 years later almost, where they, you know, got reconnected.
Sherry's husband brought down
The
the St. Barbara statue that's in the office over there and gave that to them. And that's when the Molly Pitcher St. Barbara thing kind of came into the picture. We've never been brought in before.
Well, now we're not
like
gonna
this.
let
It
you
feels
go.
really
We'll
nice.
be calling you every-
Thank you for including us. I think that's very nice. It's an honor.
And in a lot of ways, these spouses are pioneers in the Molly Pitcher community and in the artillery community. The perspective that we have is so different, and what we learned from them was how lucky we are to have this Molly Pitcher community, this artillery community, our military community in general, of love and support, understanding, pretty much 24/7. If you need anyone or anything, someone will be there for you, but they didn't have that. So for me, I walked away after meeting our Molly Pitchers extremely grateful and thankful for this community. I really I don't know what we would do without each other.
Same
Once in a million,
experiences.
always in a million.
Right.
So, What does Molly Pitcher mean to us today? For Marine Corps artillery spouses, she's more than a legend. She's a symbol of service, strength, and stepping up when it matters most. Today, Molly Pitcher's legacy lives on, especially among Marine Corps spouses. Just as Molly stood strong, you too embody that same courage and determination.
Hi, my name's Kim McDonough, and I, with the help of many, many people, planned the first ever Molly Pitcher event. In 2011, my family and I moved from Okinawa, Japan to Camp Pendleton, California. My husband took over as the CEO of 111, and I quickly found out that St. Barbara's Day is a staff and Marine only event. I was disappointed because I always loved the St. Barbara's Day ball. So very quickly I came up with this bright idea that I would have our own event. We would have spouses and volunteers invited, and we would call it Molly Pitcher. I am great at coming up with bright ideas, but I'm not always the best at executing them. I let our fro and my friend, Nori Jackson, know about my idea, and she ran with it. Nori met with the green side to have many meetings to plan the skit, plan the whole event, and make sure that it had the roots and the foundation that it needed to last a long time, and to keep the integrity of the St. Barbara while putting a Molly Pitcher twist on it. Without her help, this whole bright idea of mine would have never come to fruition. I needed to recruit volunteers and sell this idea. And after talking to many spouses at Camp Pendleton, I realized most of them had never heard of St. Barbara, and they definitely had never heard of Molly Pitcher. So they didn't know St. Barbara was the patron saint of artillery, and they didn't know that Molly Pitcher was helping her husband man the guns. So I had a lot of motivation to make sure that people didn't come and go from Camp Pendleton having never heard of these two awesome ladies. So even though we got some pushback and it wasn't easy to plan this first event, we pushed through. One of the things that was we did have a little bit of pushback on was we took over Fiddler's Green. Anyone who's been to Camp Pendleton, Fiddler's Green is the area where all the Marines hang out, and it is very masculine, and we girled it all up. We had flowers and candles and couches and tablecloths all over in there. And the regimental commander at the time, his reaction was comical. Not comical at the moment, but in hindsight it was comical. But he was a good sport, and he helped us and went along with it. And that first ever event was a success. And it has grown. After that first year, doing Molly Pitcher with just 111, we did it as a regimental event the next year. So now it was an 11th Marines event. And then spouses left 11th Marines and went to Hawaii or Fort Sill, and they started some there. And I don't even know where else it is. Now we have one at Camp Lejeune. Very exciting. So initially, my motivation for doing this Molly Pitcher event was a good party. But there's way more to this event than just drinking and carousing and dancing. I didn't want people to leave this community without knowing the history of Molly Pitcher and St. Barbara. And I also wanted to make sure that our volunteers got recognized. I don't think any other MOS community recognizes their volunteers the way artillery community does. It is it is envied by so many other MOSs, and I just want to keep it going. We are Molly Pitcher.
Whether it's coordinating care for a family in need, volunteering to boost morale, or simply showing up to support one another, the spirit of Molly Pitcher continues.
I am Molly Pitcher.
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 We are Molly Pitcher.
So here's to Molly Pitcher, and here's to all of you Marine Corps artillery spouses and all those who support our artillery, who carry her legacy forward with every act of service. Just like Molly, we are the backbone of our communities. We endure long separations, handle the hardships of war, and remain strong for our families and our country. You are the heartbeat of this community, and your impact echoes louder than any cannon blast.